There it goes. Okay, now you're up.
All righty, well, welcome to Lieutenant Governor training. This is our agenda this morning. We've already been through the introductions. We're going to cover the different dues paying levels within the organization, contrast the foundation versus OI, look at normal club leadership structure, useful websites, milestones you should be aware of, look at district awards and achievements, district contests, and then conclude with OI membership incentives. So in terms of the expectations, introductions, we've already been through this, so I'm not going to belabor that. Optimist International, obviously everybody belongs to a club, and that's where all the action is. That's where the projects take place. Supporting the clubs is the district. District is divided into zones, as you know. Each of you is a lieutenant governor, and each of you will have a budget that will be approved by the district board of directors, and the intent of that budget is for you to support the clubs within your zone. It's not to have you go to conferences, it's to support the clubs through visitations, supporting their projects. International level, they support all clubs and districts. Optimist International versus the Optimist International Foundation. As most of you I think have heard before, Optimist International, our Optimist District, and most clubs are 501c4 organizations, which means any donations made to clubs or district and the international organization are not tax deductible. I know there are a few exceptions, but for the most part, this is true. On the other hand, the Optimist International Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit, which means donations to the foundation are tax deductible. Optimist International is an administrative organization that supports all the clubs and all the districts. The foundation, on the other hand, supports the scholarship programs, such as oratorical, and various youth programs, such as health and wellness. The club leadership team for a standard club is run by the board of directors, and that includes the president, secretary, treasurer, and board members. Often it's 4 members to the board, but for bigger clubs, it may expand that to 6 or even 8. In some cases, the secretary and treasurer functions are combined into one position, but in our district, about 2/3 of the clubs have separate secretary and treasurer positions. Websites. I think everybody's probably been on the OI website, but some may not be familiar with our district website, so we'll start there, then go to the OI website, the foundation website, and then go to Optimist Leaders. This is what the main page of a Colorado-Wyoming Optimist District website looks like. I will want to point out that it is a work in progress. Some of you may be aware that several times in the last year or two, our district website was hacked into, and so it's undergoing a reconstruction as we speak. So not all of the content is up and running or up to date, but hopefully we'll get that resolved here in the very near future. I'd like to draw your attention to the programs area of this homepage. If you click on that, you can find out all sorts of information about district contests, such as a brain bowl, the oratorical, the essay, CCDHH, junior golf, so on and so forth. If you go to the conferences area, you can find information about our district conferences, our district convention, international convention. If you look at the top under members, there's a pull-down menu. So if you select members, you'll get this menu. If you go to forms, you'll get another page that requires you to log in. You have a password requirement. So click on forms. That'll bring up this page. The password to enter is capital C, little o, capital W, little y, capital B, 25. Once you've entered that password, hit the enter key or select submit. But I do request that limit dissemination of that password only to active members of our district. We don't want the word getting out to people that don't have any business being there, because that enhances the chances of us getting compromised again. Any questions so far? All right. Once you've entered the password and hit submit, you should get this forms page. On that, you will see the district expense voucher. Now, right now, obviously, it's for the 2019-2020 Optimist year. In October, that'll be replaced by the expense voucher for the 2020-2021 year, but we're not quite there yet. Also on here is a link to the district policies, the last ones that were approved by the district board of directors. Membership applications. That includes regular membership and Friend of Optimist, and various training presentations. In fact, the training video from last Thursday night's secretary and treasurer training is already out there. We have some issues getting the PowerPoint files out, but that's still being worked. There's a link at the top of this page that links you directly to the Optimist International Member Resources website. That's kind of a handy link to have. Any questions on our district website thus far? All right, hearing none, let's take a look at the Optimist International website. So this is the main page when you enter this link or this website address. I'd like to point your attention to member resources because that has a wealth of information that we can all benefit from. You can get that two ways, either by clicking on the member resources link at the very top of the page or this big square as indicated here.
I have a question.
Oh, Charlie has a question.
Have you all received your login from Optimist International?
No.
No.
And that you'll need not for optimists, but you'll need for optimist leaders, and we'll get to that in a few moments. All right, so if you click on the member resources, it's a big page, and we'll have to scroll through it, but lots of different information categories. On the left-hand side, information about the international organization, including the mission statement, the vision statement, and the purpose statement. There's also a staff directory for the international headquarters staff. Information such as the international bylaws for the organization. And anytime they update their bylaws, we have to check our district policies to see if we need to update ours. The next area, administration tax information, gives information such as the dues and fees structure from Optimist International, the insurance coverage, tax filing information for clubs. If you scroll down, meetings and conventions, there's a link to the International Convention, as well as the Junior Optimist International Convention and the Optimist Leadership Academy. Under leadership development, there's a link to the Learning Management System, or LMS, various teaching materials and webinars. If you go further to the right, OI programs such as Childhood Health and Wellness, the scholarship contests, and those, CCDHH, Essay, and Oratorical. CCDHH standing for Communication Contest for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. If you scroll down again, forms, documents, and publications, various documents such as bylaws, club administration, information on the various officer duties within the club and the district. Lots of good info. Questions on member resources? Okay. Going back to the main page, you can access the Optimist International Foundation. Again, two ways to do that. On the upper right, click on Foundations as a pull-down menu, or click on this big Foundations box and then select Optimist International Foundation. When you do that, you get to the Optimist International Foundation home website. There are quick links you can access, either through the pull-down menu on the top menu bar, or here in the left center of the page, it lists some of the quick links you can access. I'd like to draw your attention to the Money Matters button here at the top. If you click there, you'll get a pull-down menu. If you look at 10 things accomplished, select that, you'll get this page, which gives you the Foundation's 10 highlights for the past 4 years. Obviously, we're not in 2020 isn't completed yet, so that one isn't available. But if you want to see what the Foundation did in 2019, click on that, and you'll get this page. And I'm not going to read all of the 10 highlights, but some of the things that the Foundation accomplished in 2019, they supported the Oratorical World Championship Contest, and the top 3 finishers were awarded totals of $70,000. There's a club campaign program which paid out over $500,000 and earned over $61,000 in interest in these funds. And we'll go through those a little bit here in a few minutes. Why should you care about this stuff? I think it's important to know as you go to the clubs in your zone. Sometimes people say, well, what is a foundation? What the heck do they do? Having access to this information gives you a quick snapshot of what it is that they do. Club programs. If you look at the pull-down menu, you get a couple. Do you need to be an expert on these programs? Absolutely not. You have a district foundation rep who is Ron Benson, who is the district expert. Additionally, each of the clubs should have a club foundation rep. There's a pass-through program that clubs can take advantage of. If there's an organization that wants to donate to a club in your zone in terms of the programs that they're running, and they want the tax credit, you can work with that club to have them write a check to the OI Foundation. The foundation will write a check back to your club for that specific project, and then the donor can get a tax credit for that or be able to write it off on the taxes. The club campaign fund is a great deal for clubs that have a lot of cash lying around that they don't need right away. They can deposit that at the OI Foundation for a 3% simple interest rate. The key is this is long-term, so if you don't need that money right away, you can basically park it there, let it grow interest, and then when you need it, you submit a request to get that funding out. But the key is it has to be for youth programs. This cannot be for operation of your club, the administrative part. It has to be for youth programs. Again, your DFR on Benson would be the district expert for that. Questions so far on the clubs?
One of the things that the foundation does, clubs can go ahead and request a grant from the foundation for a project, a new project. It should be a service project. I mention it only because I'm on that committee next year to choose what clubs will receive grants at the foundation level. And there's 5 of us who are going to be on that committee. I'll be on the second year in a row. I urge you, Lieutenant Governors, to urge your clubs that if they intend to do a new project, to contact the foundation early on, maybe even by January or February, because we start making the decisions in March as to who's going to get grant money. And there's only going to be 20 people 20 clubs, I should say, that will be given those grants. There is some conversation. Normally that grant only exists with about $500 per club. However, there's talk about making it $1,000 next year to 2021. So keep it in mind, Lieutenant Governors, let your clubs know.
Great.
Thank you, Charlie. And yes, as of right now, it is a $500 grant at the foundation.
So I got a question. So is this a case where the club doesn't have the money to fund it on its own and it goes to the foundation? What's the process there?
Well, it doesn't necessarily require that the club doesn't have the money. You can ask for the grant regardless of how much is in your treasury. It's just a question of the value of the project. And it should, and as Gunnar said, it serves the children. It's not something that's a fundraiser or a, pay your dues or stuff like that. It's a new project that you'd like to start, and you ask for money from OI.
Oh, okay.
I have a question for Charlie. Our
Go ahead,
keynote
Charlie.
speaker, we are partnering with Shriners. They are the keynote organization, but the keynote speaker is Caleb, and he's the little boy with the starched shirt and the bow tie.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking.
Okay,
Yeah.
you know Caleb, yeah, he's their most popular ambassador. But is that something? It's not a project, but the registration fee of $10 is going to go towards a donation to Shriners plus the district. I asked the district to match the first 1,000. Is that something that I could request because, as a donation going to Shriner?
It's not a grant.
It's not a grant?
It's not part of the club grant program.
No,
Okay, never mind.
it has to be a program.
Okay.
Okay.
From the clubs. Okay, thank you. There are individual programs that club members can donate to. I think the most familiar one is a Dime a Day program where everybody can write a check for $36.50 and the OI Foundation gets that. The rest of these are increasing dollar values for the most part. And again, the DFR has all the details. But you're welcome to navigate around the Foundation's website at your leisure and find out for yourself more information as you so desire.
Gunnar, do you know if Ron is going to continue his DFR next year?
Yes.
Yes, that's
Thank
the
you.
last word I heard.
Okay.
All right, the Optimist Leaders website. You can access really important information such as the club rosters for your zone, T-shirt, aging, club roster adjustments, club bylaws, club office elect reports, and a whole bunch of others. So the way to get there is you start off at the main Optimist website, and up in the upper left corner, whoops, daisies, you select the Optimist Leaders login button.
Prominently placed, by the way.
I'm sorry?
Prominently placed in the upper
Prominently
left-hand
placed.
corner.
Yeah, it's a little, you can easily overlook it, but it is up there. So if you click on that, you'll be given a login window where you should enter your email address, and that's the one that's on file with Optimist International. If you have multiple addresses and OI doesn't have them all, make sure you put the one in there that OI has, because otherwise this won't work. Enter the password that OI did email to you. So once you were designated as a Lieutenant Governor incoming, they should have sent you your login credentials.
And I will follow up with OI on Monday to see when they plan to send everyone their passwords.
Yeah, if you haven't gotten them already, well, you should have by now, but if you haven't, Charlie will follow up on that. Uh-oh, somebody's phone.
I get it.
All right, then select login. Now, if you've forgotten your password, you can click on the forgot password button and follow the instructions, and eventually that situation should get resolved. So assuming your login works properly, you'll get a page that looks something like this. It's a sample menu. Now, in this case, we're using Charlie's Lieutenant Governor login, but she has various access levels because she's also at the club level. She's also a district officer. She's one of the district ambassadors to Optimist International. But if we click on the, whoops, daisies, the zone level, select the respective zone level. So for Charlie right now, it's zone 5. You'll get something that looks like this. It points out which OI region our district is in. And then there's a list of all the clubs in all the zones, both adult clubs and joy clubs. And lieutenant governors can view any of these clubs, which is kind of a handy feature to have. So let's scroll down. There's all the different zones. And what we're going to do is just look at Charlie's home club, which is the DTC Optimist Club. So if we click on that button there, we'll get a sample club roster for the Denver Tech Center Optimist Club that looks something like this. And here you'll see in the left-hand corner, the upper left-hand corner, information on the specific club, which region of OI it's in, which district we are, obviously 25, and which zone this club is in. It also has the club number. It shows the meeting place for the club as well as the meeting time. It shows who OI sends the invoices to, and that's normally the club treasurer. It has the club's federal tax identification number, and it also shows the balance due to Optimist International for that club.
I just want you to be aware, because a lot of clubs are searching for new meeting locations when they can go back to meeting. As a lieutenant governor, keep abreast of that. Pull it up because it needs to be correct and updated of where they're meeting.
Okay.
How do I have tried for a year to get our place changed, and who's the person in the office, because it doesn't ever get changed on the place? Who should I be speaking with?
I would contact Charlotte
Charlotte Baker.
Baker.
Okay.
Because we had a situation, one of my clubs, they had wrong information. So I spoke with Charlotte and she made the correction.
So
Okay.
she is at Member Services at Optimist International.
Yes.
The number to call,
Uh,
1-800.
Yeah, I've got that.
Oh, you have that? Okay. 500-8130, extension 214. That should get you to Charlotte.
And Mary Grace, that would have been something you could have also asked your Lieutenant Governor. Say, I can't get it changed. Can you help me or direct it? So that could be a question also directed to your Lieutenant Governor.
Okay.
Charlie Neumann. I was thinking that as long as it's not an officer, because the Lake Arbor Club, we moved from one location to another. And so Ken was able to go in and change the location himself on the screen.
Yeah.
So the president or the secretary should be able to go in and change it themselves. Mary Grace, were the secretary or the president?
I didn't try that.
Yeah, because Ken did do that because we just changed like just a few months ago, and now we are showing the place where we are meeting.
Okay, I'll try that. Mhm.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, I've done it myself.
Me too.
I put the information in that our meetings are suspended and we're just doing Zoom. Because we
Okay.
don't have a location right now.
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea, Bill. Great.
Good idea.
Okay, so also on this page, in addition to the current club officers whose term ends on 30 September, the incoming officers whose term begins on the 1st of October are also listed together with their addresses, emails, and member numbers. If you were to scroll down, you get the active club roster for that club, and that's where it shows you the member number for each of the members that is active in the club. The member number consisting of the club number, dash, and then the member number. So for John Walker, I'm hoping that that helps in that respect. You'll notice that some of the names are in bold font in this active club roster, and that is because they are club officers, either the current ones or the club officer elects. You might also notice that some member numbers are a little bit different, like 25 FU. Those are your Friend of Optimist members of your club, and also the member number follows that 25 FU. And behind the name in parentheses is the word friend. So that's a quick way to identify which of your club members are FU members. Questions?
Point of clarification on the FU members.
Yes.
Lots of people don't realize it, but you know, it used to be that we could make them officers of our club or on the board.
You
Can't do that. Friend of Optimist cannot be board members or officers of your club.
That is correct. FU members cannot be officers. That's per the international bylaws, and that was passed a few years ago, so that is correct. Members can be added or deleted from your roster by your club officers, the secretary, treasurer, or president. But club officers can only be deleted by Optimist International.
Yeah, so I got a question on the friend of, well, now that we're there. So
Okay.
do we have to re-up the friend of Optimist on a yearly basis?
Yes,
Yes.
and I'm going to show you that in just a moment. It's
Okay.
a couple of slides from now, so we'll be there in just a moment.
Yeah, great, thanks.
You're welcome. All right, if you move your cursor over the text of any of these members, then it will display for you the member number, the member name and address, and any office that person holds in that club. Similarly, if you move your cursor over the text for one of the Friend of Optimist members, it'll show you that FU member number, the name of that membership, address, when the membership was last renewed, and when the current FU membership expires. So that is an annual thing, and it's not based on the Optimist year, it's based on when that member first became a FU member. Some clubs reward members of the community by paying for a Friend of Optimist membership in honor of their work for the club, whether it be club projects or whatever. Some FU members pay their own way, so it's really up to the club who they want to pay for.
I might, Gunnar,
Yes.
I might add on that the persons who receive the renewal information is the member, the FU member themselves, and their sponsor.
Yes. True statement. Bill, does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's great. And by the way, that example you just gave is exactly the reason we did it, because we have a guy that helps with our fundraiser, which is helping CU with their
Okay.
game day parking.
Okay.
But he can never make it to a meeting or anything because of his job. But we wanted to kind of, so we pay his friend of dues.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good. And the FU membership is $100 a year. $40 of that comes back to the club from Optimist International.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Surprise.
Yeah.
All right, next. If you actually click, not just move the cursor over, but if you click on the member's name, you'll get a page that looks like this, that shows you all sorts of information about that member, name and member number, member type, etc., when that member joined the club, contact information in terms of phone numbers and emails and address. And there's a handy little feature in here that says you can show the address on a Google map. So if you click on that, that person's address will be displayed on Google Maps. So if you ever wanted to go find them, you can do that.
And I have to tell you, as lieutenant governors, if I would have known that feature, I just found it this past week about the Google Maps. The first time I went to Littleton breakfast meeting, I was lost for close to 2 hours trying to find the person's home. So just keep that in mind. I know you all have on our cars, we have apps and such, but know if you're going ahead of time, you can Google Map it, and it's really great.
Yippee.
Yippee.
There's also a button here that says show all info for the member, and that gives you a lot more details. I don't want to belabor that point right now, but anyway, this is a way you can find out all sorts of information about the club members. So select back when done. Back to this page, there's a club roster report button. So if you select that, you'll get detailed information on the members of that club, as well as the club itself. So this is a sample club roster report, shows you the club number and name, where it meets, when it meets, what district it's in, what zone it's in, and the current club officers. Down below that is a listing of all of your active members, showing you the member number, and that's listed as roster, the name of the member, gender, the name of the sponsor, address, phone number, email addresses, membership type, date joined, etc., etc., etc. So there's a lot of good information on here regarding the club membership.
If I could, Gunnar, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have found it very helpful to print that particular page out with all that information about the individual members when you do a club visitation, because then you have some place that you can take notes about members who attended the meeting or other information, and you've got a lot of stuff in there that you can use during a club visitation.
Okay, Joe, good input, thank you. Once you're done with this, select close at the bottom of the list, and that'll return you to this page. Let's go ahead and scroll up. And now we're going to go to the top menu and hit the Select Club button. Brings you back to this page. Select the zone level again. Brings you to this page. Scroll down. Here are your Joy clubs that are in our Colorado-Wyoming district. You can click on any one of those to take a look at their membership. We're going to look at the Joy Club that our DTC Optimist Club sponsored, and Charlie, as our Lieutenant Governor, is a member of. And that brings up something that looks like this. Tells you the region, the zone, and the district that that Joy Club is in, as well as the club number and the club name. Shows you the sponsoring clubs, any amount due to OI, and the current club officers, and of course your active district or club roster. If you scroll down, you notice here in the bottom, there's a feature that allows Charlie, in this case, to add or delete members from that roster. However, even though that ability exists, it shouldn't not be done without coordinating with the sponsoring club officers. You don't want to do things in a vacuum. For the other Joy clubs that Charlie is not a member of the sponsoring club, the only button that shows up is the club roster report. All right, let's scroll back up. Now we're going to select reports. That brings up this page. We're going to show the officer levels, and we're going to select the zone, in this case, zone 5 for Charlie. All right, on this page, it tells you the district, the zone you're in, and now there's a whole slew of interesting reports. I'm not going to look at every one. I'd like to bring your attention to the club meeting place report. So if you click on that, you'll get a page that looks like this. Tells you the zone and each of the clubs in that zone, showing their meeting location and the time that that club meets. Obviously, it's only valid if you want to go visit them, if that information is kept up to date. Close that report when done. All right, we're in zone 5. There's an aging report section. The accounts receivable aging report, that shows you what kind of money your clubs in your zone owe OI. Now in this case, it shows that in this zone, all of the clubs are current on the OI dues. And that's a good place to be. That's where you want to be most of the time. Various categories. So here would be 0 to 30 days that money is due, 31 to 60, 61 to 90, 91 to 120, 120 plus. You know, once you get into these categories back here over 90 days, that means there's an issue you probably want to talk to that club about. In fact, I talked to them before you even get to that point, because once you get to that point, OI may send that club a letter letting them know that they are jeopardizing that club's charter by failing to pay dues. Questions on aging. It has nothing to do with the age of the governor or lieutenant governor. It has to do with the aging of the monies that are due to OI.
Possibly the aging of Charlie Pease, though.
I'll knock it off. I have a question for Terry, or maybe for you, Gunnar.
Yes.
The district directory, when will we be getting those and where?
It's a work in progress, and
I know
technically
that.
some of the information won't be available until after a special convention, such as our governor-elect, for instance. So I can't give you a date at this point. I'm hoping sometime next month.
Okay.
And it will be online in that, hopefully in that forms page, so you'll need the login to get to it. And that way we protect some of the information in there. All right, let's move on. Under the member adds, deletes, club roster adjustments, you can select a month and then select report. So in this case, we selected July. Why not just leave it at the default? Because when I did September, there were no changes. So I wanted to show you what changes look like. So I went to July, select report, and that brings up this for zone 5. It shows that in July, we had some member additions and deletions. The additions are shown with the blue A, the deletions with the red D. Any questions on the CRA reports? All right, select close, and we go back to this page. We're going to scroll down and take a look at the club bylaw status. And that shows for zone 5, of the current 5 active clubs, several have club bylaws on file with OI that you can link to. So let's take a look at one of those, in this case, the Denver Tech Center's club bylaws. And for whatever reason, the data proof didn't show in here, even though the one that I accessed otherwise does. But these are the standard club bylaws as adapted by the Denver Tech Center Optimist Club. And remember that OI, about a little over a year ago, put out standard club bylaws that all of the clubs and the organizations could use as a starting point for their own club bylaws. It's basically a template, so that in these bylaws, text that's in bold font cannot be changed. Text that's in normal font, you can amend to meet your club's needs. If we scroll down to the bottom of that, it'll show you when the bylaws were approved by your club officers, which is the president and secretary are the ones who have to approve it, and that's done electronically. And then at OI, it's also approved electronically. All right, we'll close that out. Questions on the bylaws? I know. We'll continue.
Okay.
All right, we're going to look at club officer elect reports. And at this stage, on the left-hand side here, there's something that says report. Obviously, nobody's ready to submit reports at this point. But Joe was alluding to, you can help your clubs when you get around to spring in getting their COER submitted. At this point, if you select the report status, you can see the latest COERs for the clubs in your zone. So we click on that. Here are the clubs in zone 5. You see they've all submitted COERs showing you the president. Where it says secretary, that's actually secretary treasurer, and then a foundation rep. And then you can see the clubs that have separate secretary treasurer functions. And I won't belabor that. T-shirts. Some of you may have heard that, some of you may not. It's a report that's been around a long time, from well before we all had these wonderful computers that we can access them ourselves. It was generally a report that was run on Thursdays showing membership numbers for the clubs. It retained that T-shirt title, and here there are two types of T-shirt reports. There's a monthly one and a year-end closing. So if we start off with the monthly one, we select a month. Right now, defaults to September. That's the month we're in. And click on Report. It'll bring up a page that looks like this. It shows you, in this case, we're in Zone 5. It shows you the club membership numbers at the beginning of the current year, current Optimist year, for all of the clubs in your zone, as well as the total membership numbers of that zone. The next column is the club membership at the beginning of the current month. We're in September. The club membership on the date that the T-shirt report was run, and you can run it pretty much any day. The month-to-date net, and then the year-to-date net. Any questions on the monthly T-shirt? Okay. Close one done. We'll look at the year-end one. It defaults to September 2019. Why is that? Because we're not finished with the 2019-2020 Optimist year yet. So that's the last completed Optimist year. So we'll leave the default year in there, hit report. Here is a sample year-end closing T-shirt report for Zone 5. Now, if you're paying close attention, you might say, now wait a minute. We just saw Zone 5 had 6 or 5 clubs before. Now we only have 4, and they're not the same as before. What happened? Well, we had a zone realignment in 2019 and 2020 year. And that's why Zone 5 looks a little bit different for the previous year. What it does show you is the club and zone membership numbers at the beginning of the selected Optimist year, which is in this case, 1 October of 2018. Shows you the membership at the end of the selected year, which is September 30th of 2019. The month-to-date net for the last month of that selected year, which in this case is September as well. And then the year-to-date net, end of that selected Optimist year. Any questions on that? All righty. We'll select close, and that's all the time I was going to spend on Optimist leaders. Any questions there? Okay, let's look at some key milestones that you should be aware of. According to OI, each quarter, the club president is supposed to submit the Honor Club tracking form. And for those of you that have been around a while, that replaces the ACPC, or Annual Club Planning Conference. On these dates, 1 January, 1 April, 1 July, and 30 September, and that goes to the District Club Vitality co-chairs, who for this coming year are Abigail Nicholas and Linda McDonald. And it also goes to the lieutenant governor of the zone that that club is in. The first Thursday in February has been designated as Optimist Day. So for 2021, it'll be on the 4th of February. And on that day, you're trying to promote all the wonderful things that we do. Make sure you wear your Optimist shirts and pins and hats and anything else that draws attention to Optimist International and the things that we do in our communities. Also in February, on the 15th, the IRS Form 990 or 998N is due. And this is an electronic thing, which I went through in more detail with the club treasurers. But it never hurts to have the Lieutenant Governor remind each of their clubs of that deadline. If a club fails to submit this required paperwork, after a couple of years, they get into bad graces with the IRS, and to get back into good graces can be quite costly. I know Joe Priester had to work that with one of the clubs, and it cost, I think, over $600 to get back in good graces. Is that right, Joe?
That's right, $650.
$650. May is Optimists in Action Month, and there's more information on that on the OI website. In fact, I just extracted this verbiage from the OI website, so I'm not going to belabor that. But again, you want to work and demonstrate the wonderful things we do in our communities, bring out the best, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The 20th of May, we've talked about this already, the club office elect report is due to OI, and for each of the clubs, the president, secretary, or treasurer can get those filled out. And the lieutenant governors can definitely help there and make that happen. 30 September, the club pride report is due to OI. And that's something normally done by the club president. Any question on the milestones?
Hey, Gunnar.
Right. Yes.
I need to run. I got to get to work here. So I was planning on being out of here at 11. I apologize.
No worries. We're almost done.
Heading down to Elizabeth to show some houses in 40 minutes. So I got to roll.
Okay.
I'll catch you guys later. Bye, Terry. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks,
Jude.
John.
Take care, John.
All right, District Awards and Achievements. The chair for this coming year is Charlie, and she has several awards to point out. One is an annual award. That's recruit 3 or more members per year. Each recipient will receive a $50 gift card that will be presented at the district convention next year. And these awards, by the way, are submitted by club presidents. There's 2 quarterly award categories. Rookie of the Quarter, these are the criteria for that, and the submittal dates. And the second one, also submitted by club presidents, the club Zoom fundraiser project of the quarter, as indicated there.
I want to touch base on that for a moment. Just what you mentioned about Mary Grace, about having a fundraiser. I think I want to showcase the clubs that are doing the Zoom fundraisers, give ideas to the other clubs. But I'm just going to share something what Shriners did. They had their first virtual lemonade stand. Mm-hmm. They raised $70,000. About 11. Oh. Okay. So now, yes, we're not Shriners, but that made me start thinking about opportunities to bring a Zoom project together. Also, bring clubs together that don't have the manpower, the financial power to do a fundraiser, and jointly do it together and divvy up the profits.
Okay. Any other questions on the awards and achievements? All right, quick look at district contests. We have the Brain Bowl. Connie Ackerman, Richard Banowski, and Sharon Foster are the co-chairs. The oratorical contest, that Steve Gorell is the chair. Communication contest for deaf and hard of hearing, Joe Priester is the chair. The essay contest, we don't have a chair at this point, that's in the works. Junior golf, co-chairs, Bob Meyer, Jim Markey, Ron Cisco, and TriStar basketball, Phil White and Joyce Lehman. We will hear more about 5 of these contests at our special convention on the 17th of October. Membership incentives. I got this straight from Charlotte Baker at OI on Thursday. So for the coming Optimist year, these are the 3 incentives that will be provided. The $30 under 30, recruiter teacher, and first responder. You're probably familiar with the first 2 categories because we've had these for several years now. First responder is similar to recruiter teacher in how it works, but it ends on 31 December. Now, for each of these incentive categories, OI dues and new member fees are waived for 1 year. District dues are also waived for 1 year, provided that the club treasurer notifies the district treasurer of members brought in under these incentives during the same month that the new member joins a club. And that is right in line with our district policies. All right.
Yeah, question. So would a medical worker fit in that category?
As a first responder,
Yes.
it sounds like yes. And you can always ask Charlotte Baker at OI specific questions on that because I haven't found this on the OI website. That's why I had to call them to get the information. But in terms of specifically who it includes, I would contact Charlotte Baker, 1-800-500-8130, extension 214.
And also the chairpersons will be on in the directory as well as the online directory when that gets up and running.
And I did check to see whether retired first responders, and yes, they can be retired.
That is very good to know. Thank you.
Just like retired teachers.
Yes, it's like
Yes.
retired teachers. That,
Very good.
Thank
That's
you.
it. The only pitfall, I guess, is that it only goes through the first quarter of this coming Optimist year.
right.
All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, is there any other states besides Colorado doing Brain Bowl?
No. Colorado, Wyoming is the only Optimist district doing that at this point. Speaking of Brain Bowl, the Brain Bowl committee has been meeting, and we'll hear more on the 17th of October. We are trying to find a way to make it happen virtually, and we've tentatively set a date of January the 30th for a virtual contest. So that's in the works. More details to follow on 17 October.
And I just want to add something. Colorado, Wyoming is highly regarded at OI because Bob Meyer, who heads up the junior golf, has been named the, what would you call it, the chairperson for Optimist International across the country, globally, as the golf tournament chair. We have Jeanette Thompson, who's going to be sitting on the, what board is it, Jeanette? With training.
She's the OI Leadership Development Committee.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
she's not the committee. She's on the committee, I should say.
and the Brain Bowl has been recognized by Optimist International. As years ago, they won the award at OI for the best project of that nature. So other organization clubs have looked at trying to do a Brain Bowl in a different state, but as we all know, it takes a lot of manpower and they've not quite gotten it together. But anyway, it's moving forward this year.
All right.
Okay,
Any other questions?
Gunnar, I have a couple questions in general.
Okay.
First off, are we going to resurrect the monthly meeting of the, I forget the title now.
The Strat Grow?
Is it the Vitality Committee?
Stratgrow.
Grow.
Yes,
Strategic planning.
strategic planning. Are we gonna, is that going to happen again? Either
I
via
think that will
Zoom
be
or?
a question for the Vitality Committee chairs, Linda and Abigail. Or unless Terry has some further information that we don't have on that.
Okay.
No, I would agree. I would need to talk with Abigail. So we'll get more information on that. Abigail's out of town. So once she's back in town, that's definitely something I want to see which direction, because I also want to include some meet and greets under that.
Okay. Second question was for Bill Ashby. What is that? Anyway, Bill, can you hear me?
Yeah.
The Fort Morgan Sunrise Club does their own Brain Bowl,
Really?
and you might want to go out for that. That's pretty impressive.
Really?
And they started in January, I think. So,
That's neat.
yeah.
Yeah, that is. I wonder what resource they use to get all the questions.
I don't know, but it's pretty popular and they get a lot of people. So,
Hey, Bill, how that works is they use a service to buy the questions.
Well, the district does.
The district
We
does.
don't know about the club.
I don't know about the club, but yeah, the district
Uh,
buys the
Bring
questions.
that up, Charlie. It's a neat idea.
Good
I
input.
have one Zoom tip for you guys. Maybe you already know it. But once you click on mute, from thereafter, you can use the space bar
yeah,
to turn mute
right.
on and off.
that's right. I know.
Good point. Thank you. Anything else?
Point of clarification on that first responder special membership.
Yes.
As long as they're entered by the end of December, that 1 year starts when they enter, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. If there's nothing else. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey, Terry. Terry. Where is she?
It's
Terry?
fine.
Okay. Can you talk about what your goal is and about the virtual convention on October 17th and what we have planned?
Yes, I will. So I think the advantage, I think it's definitely an advantage. We may not be able to have the on-site convention, but where we typically have about 100 people attend, every time I go to an installation or every time I talk to anybody, I don't see any reason if we all push it that we couldn't have at least a minimum of 300 attendees. This is a convention that it's going to be fun, it's going to be educational, it's going to be informational. You get to see what is happening with the Colorado, Wyoming. And so I would just encourage you, as you are contacting your current presidents, even if there's a couple that have watch parties limited to, 4 to 6 people, there's no reason we cannot get at least 300. Let's put us on the map on that for the virtual convention because it's convenient and it's going to be a great convention. So I definitely want to push it. And my goal is 300. And I would love to see that happen. And I know that it's possible. We've got a great group of lieutenant governors this year. Oh my gosh, I'm so impressed with all of you, and I know we can do 300 with the group of lieutenant governors we have this year.
Terry mentioned the reasonable cost.
Well, and it has been already talked about, but like Charlie Neumann has said, it basically is $10. That is a donation that's going to go to the Shriners. And again, with the keynote speaker being Caleb, that's what us optimists are all about. That is who we are. That's who we are representing. So for $10, there's no reason we can't do the 300. So I would like to end who's with me on reaching that 300.
Here.
Fine.
I just want to add something because Gunnar and I are the ambassadors for Optimist International to promote the international convention. This year, they had their highest in 20 years attendance. It was their first virtual convention. In all the years that we've been doing this, they were struggling to get 1,000 people. It would cost us anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000. It was very pricey. They had 1,755 attendees. The platform that they purchased to do the virtual convention was $55,000. And with the people signing up, I think the registration was $25. It paid for the tools. And our team is doing one bang up job to bring something special to our members. So I can't enough say, join us, come have fun, and come see this little guy speak because he's just amazing.
And I would just like to say one other thing. As a matter of fact, when I'm on the governor training meetings or just the president open office like I'm having on Wednesday nights, I have gotten to know some of the governors that they're already saying, because I'm inviting personal invitations even via Facebook, the governor for Colorado, Wyoming Optimist, she signed on and she's going to come. And so I think we're going to have even other governors with OI attending because like Charlie and Gunnar say, we're regarded very highly there. And so I think we're going to get other people outside the district. One thing I don't want to see is if we have more people outside of our Colorado, Wyoming attend our convention, that would be sad. So boy, I hope we have more attend within the Colorado, Wyoming. I don't know how many are going to, but I know the talk is going on within the governors. We'll see, but I would love for the Colorado, Wyoming to show that, you know, an elevated number of people attending this convention.
Hey, Terry, maybe you ought to do a little incentive for your lieutenant governors to get which lieutenant governor has the highest attendance in their zone.
I was actually bringing that up at my, is that me there? Because every time I come on,
Jeanette's trying to get on.
Yeah, and I'm.
Can you mute yourself?
Yeah, I can't hear what she's saying.
Okay, and actually, Charlie, I did bring that up to the lieutenant governor. Okay, it's something else. I did bring that up to the lieutenant governors at our Wednesday night meeting. Somebody is still, maybe I need to get a prize of some sort going on which lieutenant governor could get the most attendees at the convention. Is a friendly competition, just saying, and I'm open to suggestions.
Okay.
All right, I think at this point, I'm going to stop recording. I think we're pretty much done with the training. So unless somebody has any issue with that, I will stop recording.
Gunnar, is this presentation online or can you send it to us or whatever?
The recording will go to the district website. The PowerPoint slides, I'm going to try to get to the district website. We have some issues in terms of file sizes, so we're still working that.
Okay. Oh, the recording will be fine, yeah.
All right, here we go.
Bill, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I think you and I need to sit